Hey guys, so you are about to take your 6 weeks test for the 4 6 weeks. It's going to cover everything we have talked about so far for the past 6 weeks, which is a lot. We are about to review everything that we've covered and go over all of the TEKS that we have studied this past 6 weeks. And then we're going to review just a couple of different questions. We won't review every single topic, but I do want to go over a few things. So let's look at the TEKS that we have studied this past 6 weeks. So these are the TEKS that we have done. I'm just going to kind of read through them, and we're going to review just some of these things before you take your test. And then you guys are going to take your test, and you're going to do great. Just stay focused, and it will be wonderful. So here is what we've studied. So at the very beginning of the 6 weeks, we studied representing data. So that was using frequency tables, dot plots, and stem and leaf. And then we practiced answering questions using those types of charts. So that's these first two TEKS. Then after that, we moved on to strip diagrams and equations. So that's when we were like given the word problem and we had to find the strip diagram that matched it, or what equation we would use to solve that problem. Remember, for that one, we didn't actually even have to solve anything. We just had to find the one that matched the story we were looking at. Then we went on to input-output tables. Then we went to perimeter and area. And then just last week, we started talking about geometry. So we started looking at lines, line segments, rays, angles, and then acute, right, and obtuse triangles. So we're going to review some of these things. We're going to start with reviewing a stem and leaf. I think you guys did pretty good with the frequency tables and dot plots, but I want to review how to do a stem and leaf real quick because that was new here in 4th grade. So say we have a stem on this side and a leaf on this side. I'm just going to write some random numbers down here. All right. All right, so here is the stem and leaf. Remember, these are organized like by place value, and it will have a key down here at the bottom. So let's say if it's saying, okay, 2 on this side, 2 on this side, that's going to give me 22. That means this is a normal stem and leaf. So like this is 7, 7, 8, 9, 1, and 3, right? 13, 14, 15, 22, 22, 23. So I could sit down and like write down all these numbers if I needed to write them down in order. So this is 13, 14, 15 from this row, right? The 20s, 22, 22, 23, 27, this row. Then down here we have the 30, 30, 32. So that's how we read this stem and leaf. Now there's going to be some problems where you're going to have to use the stem and leaf to solve some problems. So on your test, there's a question that's like, I think these are like carnival tickets or something like that on your question. And it's asking you, okay, well, how many total carnival tickets did the person buy? So you have to be able to read the stem and leaf like this and say, okay, 7 tickets, 7 tickets, 8 tickets, 9 tickets, 13 tickets, 14 tickets. Goodness. And they want to know what the total is of all of these. What are you going to have to do with all of those numbers? You're going to have to add them up. So you're going to have to add up all the stem and leaf. So I'm going to have to do 32 plus 30 plus 30 plus 27 plus 23 plus 22 plus 22. It's going to take you a while, but it's simple. It's just addition. Take your time. You're going to be fine. Then there is another question that has to do with a stem and leaf on your test that has a key down here at the bottom. The key is going to tell you, actually, if there's like, say there's a 1 on this side, the 3 on this side, instead of that equaling 13, it's going to have a decimal point. So all of these, instead of equaling whole numbers like we did for the first one, sometimes they'll have them listed with, hey, a 1 on the stem side, a 3 on the leaf side, that's going to be 1.3. So now all of these, if I looked at it with this key, would be 0 0.7, 0 0.7, 0 0.8, 0 0.9, 1.3, right? These would all have decimals in between. There's a question on your test like that. And then it's going to say, what's the difference between the largest number and the smallest number on this stem and leaf? Now remember, that doesn't mean, oh, 0 and 9, because that's not what these numbers really are. You have to look at the numbers here and find the difference. So the largest number for this case would be 3.2. The smallest number, 0.7. How do you find the difference between two numbers? We subtract. So if I was finding the difference between those two numbers, I would subtract like this. Remember to line your decimals up like buttons on a shirt. Now I can't do 2 minus 7, I have to regroup. But I can do 12 minus 7. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, right? 12 minus 7 is 5. 2 minus 0 is 2. So the difference for that one would be 2 5/10. Okay, that's stem and leaf. Sometimes you have to look at the key to make sure, are we talking about decimals? Or are we talking about whole numbers? All right, let's look at the next topic. Okay, let's review input-output tables. Remember, kind of imagine this like imaginary number machine. Okay, I'm going to put a number into the box and out is going to pop a number. So on the input side, remember this could also be called position. What position in the lineup is it? So this is like the first number, the second number, the third number. So if I put a 0 into the box and out pops a 23, what did the box do? If I put a 1 in the box and out pops a 24, what did the number machine do? Remember, it has to do the same thing every single time. So if I'm starting at 0, there's only one thing I can do to get to 23, and that's to add 23. Because if I multiply anything times 0, I would still get 0, so that wouldn't have worked. So let's see if plus 23 works for all of these. So far, yes, it has. Plus 23 is working, so the rule for this problem is a plus 23 rule. All right, oh, sorry, you can't see. All right, let's try the next topic. All right, let's review perimeter and area. We did this one pretty recently. Remember, perimeter is the outside of the shape, area is the inside of the shape. I would sing to my class. I'm going to sing it to you now. I don't know if Mr. Johnson's class has heard it. This little song that a friend of mine came up with to help us remember perimeter and area. So it says, the perimeter is the outside of the shape. The perimeter is the outside of the shape. The area is the inside of the shape, but the perimeter is the outside of the shape. For a perimeter, you add up all the sides. For a perimeter, you add up all the sides. The area is the length times the width, but perimeter, you add up all the sides. All right, so we know perimeter, we add up all the sides. All the sides, not just two of them, all sides. So that's length plus width plus length plus width. For area, it says the area is the inside of the shape. The area is the inside of the shape. Right? Inside of the shape. And the song tells us, for area, you multiply the length times the width to give us area. So we're going to find the perimeter and the area of this story. The most important thing when you take your test is just look to see what is the question asking you. Is it talking about perimeter or is it talking about area? And remember which one is which. So let's do perimeter first. So all the sides. So I went ahead and labeled the two other sides that I didn't have labeled so I wouldn't be confused. So I'm going to add them up. So I know 13 and 13, I can add those in my head, is 26. 11 and 11, I can add those in my head, that's 22. I add those up and I get 48. So the perimeter is 48. Now I also want to find the area. Area, it says for area you multiply the length times the width. So the length is 13, the width is 11. So 13 times 11. You can do that a bunch of different ways. I'm going to do 13 times 10 because I can do that in my head, which is 130. And now I just know I need to add another group of 13. So I'm going to add another group of 13 to that, and I get 143. So there's a bunch of different ways for you to actually multiply, but the most important thing for you to remember is area is length times the width, perimeter, you add up all the sides. Let's try it. Review one more subject. Okay, last topic to review is our geometry topic. So we have our line, so we have this a point, a line can go on in both directions forever and ever and ever, has arrows. Line segments are ending with points, right? It's just a chunk of a line. An array goes on in one direction but not the other. And then our angles. So a right angle, remember, is always going to be exactly like the edge of your paper. Right angle is always 90 degrees. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees, and an obtuse angle is larger than 90 degrees. And then with those angles, we have our three different types of triangles. So a right triangle always has a right angle. An acute triangle always has three acute angles. And then an obtuse triangle always has an obtuse angle. So these will also be on your test. Remember, a right angle you can figure out with a sheet of paper. So you can use any sheet of paper, you can use it on your test. Ask for a sticky note or something like that. Or use a sheet of paper that you have, and you can be able to tell what kind of triangles and stuff these are. Oh, look, that's an obtuse angle. You should know, hey, that's an obtuse triangle. All right, so you guys are about to take your test. Make sure you set yourself a goal before you take the test of what you want to get and what you want to achieve. Good luck. You guys are going to do great.